Hey everyone, so I am going to do a little bit of a review with you for the quiz we are taking today. The first thing that it's going to talk about is called point slope form, and I'm going to leave the formula right here for you on the quiz too. And what you're going to do is take the slope, this negative 1/2 for this first one, sorry, and put it right here where the m is. And then y1 stands for the y value of the point, which is right here. And x1 is going to be the x value of the point, which is right here. Okay, and we're just going to plug these values into their correct spots. So y1 became 5. The m is the slope, negative 1/2. And next to the x, we are subtracting negative 4. Notice how that became plus 4 because when you subtract a negative, it becomes positive. So basically, next to the y value, or the y, you're going to put the y value, but it's always going to be the opposite. And next to the x, you're going to put the x value, but the opposite. Then we're going to take this negative 1/2 and distribute it to the x and to the 4. And negative 1/2 times x is just negative 1/2 x. Negative 1/2 times 4 is negative 2. And then this part over here stayed the same. And if you're not sure what negative 1/2 of 4 is, do negative 1 divided by 2 times 4 in a calculator. Then I want to get rid of this minus 5, so I'm going to plus 5 on both sides. And you are not going to be able to write this stuff down, so just kind of remember you're always going to do the opposite. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. And then this stays there, and just y is left over here because those 5s cancel out. Okay? And then I'm going to come over here and do the same kind of thing, except notice how this problem doesn't give you the slope. That means you want to find the slope. It's y over x. For the y's, you can look between these two numbers, negative 6 to negative 4, and actually that should be a negative 2, sorry. I rewrote the problem wrong. So assume that's a negative 2, is 4, is what it should be, over the distance between the x's, which is negative 3 to 3. And if you need to count that out on your fingers, go for it. But those are 6 apart. So that's why it's negative 4 over 6, which is this, or sorry, 4 over 6, which is the same thing as 2/3. I would always recommend simplifying your slope because that makes it easier to work with. And then what I'm going to do is the same thing I did over here. The x value is the negative 3. So over here next to x, I'm minus negative 3. That's why it became plus 3. And the y value is the negative 6. So right here is y minus negative 6. Okay. Those are always the opposite, just like they were over here. And then I'm going to take this 2/3 and multiply it. That's going to be 2/3 x. And then I'm going to do 2 divided by 3 times 3, which is 2. And then I'm going to subtract this 6 to the other side. And again, you won't be able to draw this out, but you can kind of visualize it. There we go. And that means these cross out. And then over there on the right side, 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Moving on, the next thing you're going to want to know how to do is graph. And you're going to want to be able to graph everything, okay? You see, there we go. Okay, so over here, my slope is the number in front of x, negative 2. And I typed it as negative 2 over 1, like some of you do, because you want it to be rise over run. Over here, my y-intercept is the 5. So I'm going to come down to my graph and put my y-intercept at 5. And then we go down 2 over 1 and put my other point. And then I draw a line through those. Over here, you're going to act like you are crossing out the y's. So you have 4x equals 16. You're going to divide by 4 on both sides, and that gives you x equals 4. Then you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to cross out the x's. And you have negative 8y equals 16. So you're going to divide by negative 8 on both sides, and that gives you, oh, sorry, hang on. The x-intercept is 4, so I'm putting a point at 4. And when you divide by this negative 8, you get negative 2. So I'm going to come put the y-intercept at negative 2 right here. So the x-intercept goes on the x-axis, the y-intercept goes on the y-axis. And then I put a line through this. Moving on over here, the point from point-slope form, this is the x value, this is the y value, but you have to switch them back to the opposites because of the minuses that are in the equation. Okay, so basically, this should actually be negative 2, and this should actually be 5. So the opposite of 2 is negative 2, the opposite of negative 5 is 5. And then your slope is the number in front of the parentheses right here, which is simply 2/3. And remember that we actually want slope to be a fraction, because what we're going to do is go to this point, negative 2, 5, and go up 2 over 3, because that's rise 2, run 3. And put a line through them. Look at that. Okay, and then the third thing you're going to need to know how to do is transformations. Okay, so inside it goes left to right. It goes right if there's a negative, left if there's a positive. And on the outside, it goes up and down if it's a negative, up if it's a positive. Moving on along, we are going to, and I'm going to skip this slide for a second, list the transformations. So for example, this one has a +4 on the inside. A plus on the inside is left, so that'll go left 4. A minus on the outside is down, so that'll go down 2. This graph is supposed to start right here in the middle. And instead, it's gone right 1 and down 4. Those are your transformations. I'll wait till that kind of goes away. Nope, it's not going to go away. There it is. Okay, so right 1 and down 4. And this one just says, again, list the transformations. So we just listed what was happening. Okay, now let's go back to the graph. Okay, so on this graph, there's a +5 on the inside. That means it goes left 5. And the minus on the outside means it goes down 6. Then I have to decide which one of these I'm going to use. Because there's a parentheses squared, I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to move it. It starts in the middle, left 5, down 6, and this should be the middle of my graph, like that. Okay? Moving on along. Now we're going to write the equation. So if it gives you verbal description, quadratic means it's going to have the parentheses squared. And if you don't know how to type the little 2, you can just write a regular size 2. And then the +8 is a plus on the outside. The right 5 is a minus on the inside. Just like that. So you just have to decide, should this be on the outside or the inside? Should it be a plus or a minus? In this case, it's outside plus. And this one is supposed to be inside minus. And again, you can go back to that table we did just a second ago to get there. Over here, this one makes a V, so it's going to be an absolute value. And it's been moved left 3 up 2. The left 3 is going to be a +3 on the inside. because if it was going to the right, that would be a minus on the inside. And the up is a plus on the outside. So you just have to decide where you're putting those numbers. Okay? And that's it.